waving to us.
They're there.
They're
You're
gonna be
there,
watching.
right, peeps? You're gonna be watching this.
You're like, hi. We're the only ones looking at it.
They're there. They are there.
Okay. Oh,
You are
someone's
there, right,
Hey,
peeps?
look.
Hi, I told you they're there. Hi, little chicken dog. Hi, Melissa. All right, let me scooch over so you can get in here more. Okay.
Yeah, you're good. You
Are
don't
we
need to
good?
scoot that way. You need to scoot. Yeah.
So scoot this
There
way?
you go.
Okay, here we go. So, hi, everybody. Baha Moner, or a Moner, did I get that? Melissa, we're here. Yes, I told you they're here. Thank you very much. Can you wave?
Oh, yes, of course.
Welcome, everyone. This is the Fertility and Pregnancy Institute Couples Q&A. Trimester Protocol Couples Q&A. Whoops, why does it keep turning around? There we are. Hi, Tisha. And I'm Dr. Cleopatra, and this is...
I'm Jair.
And this video is for educational purposes, as always. So today we are talking about an extension of a topic that we covered in Primester Club for our Primestering Mamas on Tuesday, and that we want to extend to some of the couples questions that we've been receiving this week. And the topic is, where in your life and in yourself can you mother or father yourself even better? And this question comes up because as we're primestering, as we're doing the work to prepare mentally, physically, epigenetically, socially, professionally, in terms of our relationship and every other part of ourselves and every other part of our life, everything that's represented by the fertility triangle, as most of you are intimately familiar with, which is what we teach as the fertility system at the Fertility and Pregnancy Institute. We're working on the ways in which we can be even better at parenting ourselves, mothering ourselves, fathering ourselves in preparation for creating, receiving, growing, and raising our super babies. And I love the work of Brene Brown. Many of you are, I'm sure, have heard of Brene Brown. She is a social work researcher, and she is very well known for a number of her books, including Daring Greatly. One of her books is my absolute favorite parenting book ever, which hardly anyone talks about as a parenting book. It's called The Gifts of Imperfect Parenting. And one of the things that as a side note, one of the things that I love most about that book is she applies her research on shame to parenting practices. And she talks about the difference between shaming our children and guilting our children, and how the children who are shamed grow up to have many more difficulties in every part of their lives, their mental health, their relationships, their professional success, etc. And what we really want to do is be guilting our children and not shaming them. And our parents really didn't know about it. Oh, Little Chicken Dog says, oh, I love that book, right? It's so good. Hardly anyone in the parenting space talks about it. It's called The Gifts of Imperfect Parenting. I think I said that already. I must have, because you said you love it. And the distinction between shaming and guilting is shaming, I'm a bad girl, and guilting, I'm a good girl, I'm a good person, but I've done something bad. So we're addressing the fault in the behavior, not a fundamental fault or flaw in the person.
Yes.
And that is such an important distinction, because as children especially, but as humans, we need to know that who we are fundamentally is okay, that we're worthy, that we're okay, that we're good fundamentally. So that's really, really important. Mama Fuel, that's so cute. I love that. Hi, Rusty Rich. Welcome, everybody. And on Facebook, we're watching you, but for some reason, Facebook doesn't seem to show us in real time the comments. I don't really understand why that is, but we are here. We have Facebook open. We're watching. So Brene Brown, one of the things that she talks about is that we can't give our children more than we can give ourselves. So when we are in the process of psychologically preparing for our babies and preparing in a larger way, one of the most important things that we can do is learn to mother or father or parent ourselves better so that we have all of that unconditional love and kindness to extend to our children. And one of the most important ways that we can start to mother and parent and father ourselves better is to start with our thoughts. And it's really a revolutionary idea to consider that our thoughts could become our best friends, that our thoughts could become as unconditionally loving and kind, at least toward ourselves, if not toward the other people in our lives who are deserving of that, as our mothers are of us, or at least in a perfect world, as our mothers are of us. Because, of course, not everybody has that experience with their mother. I grew up without a mom because I lost my mom at birth. And so it's easy for me to romanticize what having a mother is like, and to envision that if she had been there with me, she would have always loved me unconditionally and extended unconditional loving kindness to me in all of her words and actions and behaviors. And the reality is that most people don't experience that at all times with their mothers or their parents. But ultimately, even if there are ups and downs, most people have an awareness that their mothers love them unconditionally, and that there's nobody in the world who loves them the way that their mothers do. And one of my biggest challenges as a child growing up without a mother was to learn how to be my own mother in many ways, and especially how to learn how to love myself the way my mother would have loved me if she had been there, so that I could know that I'm good and worthy and deserving. And so if we can find a way to, hi everybody, Buddhist Princess, I love that cute name, and thank you for all the hearts. I returned them to you 100-fold. So beautiful. Thank you. My mother needs to learn how to love me and express it. Expressing it is the key. Lots of healing around mother's relationship, right? So thank you so much for sharing that. And so that's a great example of how not everybody experiences this romanticized or ideal relationship with their mother. And oh, thank you. You are so bright and beautiful. Thank you. I return that love to you. And what I would say to you is that, and I don't know if you already have your own children, but if you do, or when you do, because there's so much healing to do around the mother's relationship, then perhaps you have even more healing to do in terms of learning how to mother your own self and being ready for that. This has taught me how to be the most amazing mother to my daughter, and I'm the perfect mother. That is so beautiful. That is so wonderful. I'm so happy to hear that. And I agree with you also that because I didn't have my own mother, because I didn't have my mother growing up, and I had to learn how to love myself the way that ideally she would have loved me. And my mother gave her life for me. So obviously I feel so loved by her in that way, even though I wish it didn't have to be that way. I feel like I have such incredible appreciation and gratitude for my children and my husband and our family and the beautiful life that we get to have. So I agree with you so much, Buddhist Princess. I'm so happy for you. Aren't all women perfect? Yes, they are. I agree with you. I love that. That's a really great attitude to have. I love that. So 4 years since pregnancy, I haven't had a negative thought. I love my life. Yes, yes, yes. So proud that you learned and grew from your divine gift. Oh, thank you so much. I thank you so much. And I'm so happy for you too, and for your daughter too, because what a blessing that is for her and for the generations of your family to come, right? And for most of us, our thoughts are not only are they not unconditionally loving and kind like we ideally would experience with our mothers, and they're not our best friends, but they're actually incredibly negative and hard on us, right? So the neurobiology of our thoughts is really powerful, and what we know from the scientific literature is that we have 60 to 80,000 thoughts per day, which is pretty insane if you
Right.
think about it. So I did this calculation for Primester Club. I think it was approximately 2,100 to 3,500 thoughts per hour. Almost about 3,000 thoughts per hour. Like, it's amazing that we have the energy and time to do
Right.
anything else but think, but just shows you how much of our life we spend thinking and how powerful our thoughts are in impacting what we are experiencing in our lives. And I believe approximately 80% of those thoughts are negative, if I'm remembering that number from the scientific literature correctly. So that just shows you that most of us have a lot of growth and work that we can do in terms of making our thoughts work for us in terms of primestering and our pregnancy preparation and our parenting preparation. Tell me, babe, what do you experience? So Jair is in addition to being the most amazing dad to our three babies, the most amazing dad. He's such a good dad. Hi, Nishpap. That's cute. Or Nishpap. So in addition to that, he is an incredible sports and fitness expert. And so a lot of times he teaches me and teaches the children from his understanding of the world and people and cultures through sports and fitness. And so I would love to hear your thoughts on what you've observed in people in terms of their ability to be fit and healthy and to go from what you like to call good to great when it comes to the impact of their thoughts.
Well, that's a rich,
It's
a rich lead.
A multi-layered question.
Well, I'll say this, that often, at least I have found that often the way that we talk to others and the way we treat others is a reflection of the internal voice of how we feel about ourselves.
Such a good point.
The negative, so positive people, I don't think that positive people have an absence of negative thoughts. They have just learned to manage those negative thoughts differently. It's kind of like courage is not the absence of fear, but doing something in the face of fear and going forward.
Such a good point.
So it is a constant work. It's a constant work. So when you were talking about shaming and guilting earlier, it is important that when I talk to the kids or talk to anyone really, that I'm not judging their character, that I'm judging certain behaviors. And that we focus on the behavior as opposed to them as a person, which can be very hard, especially when you're upset or, or you're feeling badly about a thing, but it's a constant work. So that's where I see it. When you're in trying to elevate yourself, whether it's physically, emotionally, psychologically, it's a constant work or fertility wise. Yeah. It's a constant work. You have to constantly work on yourself. As wifey here once told me, just taking your vitamins on Tuesday is not helping you on Friday. Okay? You've got to do it every day. And it's the same with exercise. If you had a great workouts last week, well, that's great. But like Janet Jackson said, what have you done for me lately? What have you done today? Did I just date myself by bringing up Janet Jackson? Okay.
No, you didn't. But also it's awesome for people to know that you can be super fertile well into your 40s and your early 50s.
Yes. So that's, but again, this is something we can talk about for quite a while.
that's so important. It's such an important thing that you pointed out and to remember, and that really it echoes the idea that 99% of how people treat us is not about them, but is not about us, but about them. And that we are often seeing in others and in the world around us what we have on repeat in our minds for ourselves. And so if there's somebody who who tends to be really critical of other people, then you can bet that that person is incredibly critical of themselves, even when they look like they're very confident or even, you know, overly confident. Or arrogant. Usually if you could, if you could really see inside of that person, you would see that they have been incredibly critical toward themselves. And, just like somebody who's incredibly loving toward themselves, it's easy for them to be incredibly loving to the people around them. And so I think that that's really, really important. So what I want to propose to you today, for those of you who are, and Buddhist Princess says it actually streams the thoughts into postcode thoughts or no thought. That's what I've been experiencing. Rusty Rich, I think people need to realize that they have value and we all come from the same source. That is so powerful and beautiful. And thank you so much for saying that. You can hear our super babies walking in, starting to have their midday meltdown because they're hungry and tired. They're with our nanny, so no worries. They're well taken care of. They're all good. And if you hear screaming, they're just doing their 7, 5, and 2-year-old things that they do. And I think that's so beautiful. Thank you for saying that, Rusty Rich. And obviously that's something that we need to hear as much as ever this week and at this time in our history and our society. So thank you for that. And it's so, so true. When we know that we are all one and we are all a part of one another, then we can be so much more compassionate, not only to other people, but to ourselves. And we can love ourselves more. We can be more like a mother or a best friend to ourselves in our own thoughts. So what I want to propose for you is, if you are primestering, if you're getting ready for your babies, if you're starting to think about trying for a baby. Oh, they're knocking on the window. Hi guys, we're in here doing a live. This is real life, real parenting life right here. That's probably not going to stop. So, because they can't really hear us to know that we're asking them to not do that. Okay, so what I would love to propose to you is to be really in tune with your thoughts. Just be curious about them, listen to them, and maybe program a reminder in your phone to go off every hour to alert you, to remind you to stop and to take note of what you're thinking. Don't judge the thought, but just notice it, label it, and then let it go. If you see yourself hanging on to a negative thought, replaying a negative thought, I want to invite you to try using a mantra or a word, a symbol, some sort of anchor that you come back to, that you use to intercept those negative thoughts. So you can start to quiet those negative thoughts and replace them with thoughts that are loving, like a mother would be. I love you. I accept you. You belong here. You are perfect exactly as you are today. These are the kinds of things that our brains and our bodies, our subconscious and conscious minds need to hear and to know and to internalize, to really believe, to soothe the central nervous system, to know that we are safe in this world, that we are safe in our bodies, we're safe in our immediate environments, we are safe in our lives, and that it is safe to prioritize the incredible resources that it requires to make and grow your baby. Because when the brain and the body register a threat to us in any way, from stress, emergency, trauma, even old trauma, what happens to our fertility? Our fertility gets blunted, it gets dampened, because we evolved in this most beautiful and intelligent way to put our reproduction and our reproductive resources, our reproduction on the back burner so that those resources are available for our survival. We evolved to prioritize our survival. That's what the brain and the body is going to do without fail, because that is what it's designed to do. So if you are experiencing trauma or feeling, if your brain and body are registering threat because the thoughts that you have on replay are making you feel unsafe and making you feel unworthy, that's not serving your fertility, because what your brain and body are registering is that you're threatened, you're not safe, you go into your fight, flight, or freeze mode, and from that place our reproduction is put on the back burner. So I just want to remind you to look at the places in yourself and in your life where you could mother or father or parent yourself better, so that you can bring that to your pregnancy, you can bring that to parenting and raising your children. And start with looking at your thoughts and put into place these structures so that you can observe your thoughts, you can intercept your thoughts to bring more peace and pleasure into your central nervous system and into your life. From there, your brain and your body can feel safe to prioritize reproduction, to make it easier to get pregnant and to stay pregnant, and to create positive epigenetic change that's going to make your super baby and your super grandbabies. Yes. And that is what we all want.
Yes.
Any closing words?
Just what I said earlier, just that it's something you have to do constantly throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the years, throughout life.
Yes.
And you can restart at any moment. That's meaning
right.
Just because you feel like you had a bad morning, you can kick it in starting right in that moment and go to work. You don't have to wait for the next week or
for Monday,
or something,
like
to
starting a diet
just start,
or something like that.
Start going at it right away. And after a while, like anything else, it gets better. It just gets better. And
that's right. Oh God, I didn't mean to cut you. That's it. I was just gonna say, this is such an important point that you make, that this requires recommitting every single day to this practice of loving ourselves more, of mothering ourselves better, because it's like your muscles. It's like exercise. It's not that you can do it for, like Jair was saying, for a week or for 20 years and then stop doing it and expect to be as strong and as agile as you were. This is a muscle that you have to keep training over and over and over again, and being mindful of over and over again. And it requires recommitting to that every single day. And like Jair was just saying, if you feel like you failed miserably at loving yourself in the morning, you don't have to spiral out of control that day or spend the whole day or week that way. It's never too late to start. It's never too late in the day to start. It's never too late in a situation to start. It's never too late in a relationship to start. And it's never too late in your life to start. So wherever you are, just start.
Yes.
There's a quote that I love by Yogi Bhajan. All of you know that I love Kundalini yoga and meditation. And that when I was 25, I went to study with my beautiful teacher Gurmukh to bring in Kundalini yoga and prenatal Kundalini yoga and meditation to the Primester protocol, just to round out the scientific perspectives that we utilize there. And the quote by Yogi Bhajan, who was my teacher, Gurmukh's teacher, is when the time is on you, start, and the pressure will be off. So for many people, it feels hard to start. It feels like it's too late, but all it takes is just taking one step forward to take the pressure off of you. And then you are more free to engage in that expansive thinking and solution finding and state of being. So we're so happy to have had this time with you today. Don't forget to love yourself unconditionally. Don't forget to be unconditionally kind to yourself. A really great tool for this is also to do the mirror practice, which we do in the Prime Minister protocol. So mamas, I know that the mirror practice it's hard because the mirror speaks the truth, but go to the mirror like I teach you. Don't forget that you deserve your own compassion as much as or more than anybody else in this life does. And don't forget to go to fertilitypregnancy.org to download the Ultimate Fertility Checklist if you need some help getting started in getting pregnant now, or just learning how to preserve your fertility now so that you can have your baby later when you're ready, after you finish school, get to where you want to be professionally and financially, and find your prince, princess, or your non-binary regal person, as I like to say. And also for mamas, for women in the future, mamas, conceiving mamas, pregnant mamas, feel free to join us in the Facebook community, The Art and Science of Getting Pregnant. It's a closed community, so you have to request access, and we would love to have you be part of our village. And we're sending you lots of love and sprinkling all the baby dust in your direction. And for now, or whenever it is that you decide you're ready for it. And we'll see you back here next Thursday. Peace thoughts. Oh, so many amazing people here. Let's see.
Peace.
Who do we have here? So we have the VZB. That's a little bit of a tongue twister for some reason. Kath Smith. Hi, Chelsea. I think Ada Carlo. That's cute. Lush Ducky Life. Did I say that right? Cries Sparkles and Xtina Kitty Cat or something like that. Or did I get that right? Wow. Hi, everybody. So glad you're all here. Hi, everybody on Facebook. Sending you lots of love, everybody. Peace, thoughts, as our babies say.
Yes.
And thanks for all the love again, Buddhist Princess, and everybody who's been here with us today. We'll be back to see you again very soon.
Yes.